There are obviously some intriguing candidates over who could replace Jurgen Klopp. I think the majority of Liverpool fans will definitely be looking at Xabi Alonso at Leverkusen. Obviously, former Liverpool favourite, is doing a fantastic job in Germany, having taken them to the semi-finals of the Europa League. But this season, despite Bayern Munich playing pretty well and having Harry Kane, Leverkusen are at the top. And they've not even lost a game yet. So, his CV is looking pretty impressive at the moment. But I'd still have a few reservations about him. It's a huge job, Liverpool, and he's right at the start of his career. Even Jurgen Klopp, he'd managed Mainz, he'd managed Dortmund, and spent a good deal amount of time there. Other people in the frame, Roberto De Zerbi, who'd also be in the frame for the Man United job as well. He has done and is doing a great job at Brighton, so he'd be up there as well. Maybe Julian Nagelsmann, a German whose career was on the up with Hoffenheim, what he did there, and Leipzig. But then came Bayern Munich. And it's not to say that he couldn't do a good job at Liverpool, because he'd have to learn from those lessons at Bayern where he was sacked. I actually think Bayern were too hasty in getting rid of him. And I think a few of the supporters in Munich who have now got the hump with Thomas Tuchel maybe feel that maybe they were a bit too hasty in getting rid of Nagelsmann, who I still think is going to have a fantastic career as a manager. My choice would be maybe not hardly left field, because he's manager of Real Madrid, and I don't think there's any chance of it happening. But I think Carlo Ancelotti would be the right man for Liverpool, and this is my thinking. Look at Manchester United when they replaced Alex Ferguson. They brought in David Moyes, who was the right candidate, but I think he was the right candidate at the wrong time. I think if United to replace an institution like Alex Ferguson, and like Liverpool to replace an institution like Jurgen Klopp, you have to have a manager who could deal with being in charge of a big club, who's dealt with that pressure, that responsibility. And in many respects, you want a manager who has managed a club as big as Liverpool. Now, of course, there's not many clubs as big as Liverpool. Real Madrid are. And I think Ancelotti, he's been there. Obviously, he's managed around Europe. And as I said, it looks as though he's staying at Real Madrid. When he was going to go to Brazil, we all thought. But I think, they would need a character like that. Let's look at Arsenal. When Arsene Wenger left, he was an institution. I think Ancelotti would have been the right choice then. So whoever replaces Klopp, the board knows they've got an absolutely huge job. I think there'll be changes in the summer in terms of player-wise, and I think there'd have been changes anyway. I think the majority of players will stay, regardless of Jurgen Klopp, but I still think Mo Salah was going to leave in the summer, even had Klopp stayed. I think Salah's giving the club that extra season. There's been interest from Real Madrid, there's been interest from Saudi Arabia, as we know, and it would not surprise me that come the end of the season, Mo Salah does decide to go to Saudi Arabia and play for one of the teams over there. And as I said, I think it would have happened anyway, even if Klopp have stayed. Elsewhere, I think players like Alisson, for example, Virgil van Dijk, I fully expect them to stay. Liverpool need those players to stay. They really need to keep those key players. That's the last thing they need. They've lost, they're going to lose their manager. They don't want to be losing key players. But equally, I think one good thing for Liverpool is that while Klopp has had to completely sort of transform the midfield, that midfield has actually done really well and gelled much quicker than anyone could have expected. So I think that's one sort of potential worry that's okay. The team has sort of evolved quicker. So the new man that comes in, I think they'll have to get someone to replace Salah. But even so, Liverpool have got a decent strike force. Probably the best strike force in the country, I think. There are a few other issues, elsewhere that the new manager will have to address. But I think Liverpool are in a pretty good place.